People tell me to keep going live because they want to be in on it. I go live, nobody shows up. I'm gonna give it a minute and see what happens here. See if anybody shows up. If not, hell, I'll just shut it down and do a video. Well, I don't know if anybody's gonna show up or not. But anyway, guys, excuse me. New announcement tonight. Uh, and I seen this on TV now. He's been on a couple different channels, but the one I caught him on, he was with Oprah Winfrey's girlfriend on, I think it was CBS, but it was Mike DeWine on there. Now, and he said that the mask mandate and everything was going to be shut off on June 2nd. And he also came out and said that he is taking $5 million of taxpayers' money that I guess he can do with as he pleases. It's taxpayers' money, and he's the governor, and hell, he's king of Ohio anyway. So he can take $5 million of taxpayers' money, and he's going to do a drawing. Everybody in Ohio that can prove they're a resident of Ohio can be in on these drawings. Now they're going to do it 5 weeks in a row. I can't remember what day they're going to actually start it, but in that 5 week period, you go in and get your first shot, because some of these are 2-shot setups. You go in and get your first shot, you get a chance at $1 million. Now, if you get it early and you can get that second shot in before the 5 weeks is up, then you get 2 shots at $1 million. But they're going to go for 5 weeks. Each week, they're supposed to go and do a drawing of everybody that got vaccinated in the state of Ohio and can prove it. Your name's going to go in a hat or a bucket or whatever, and Mike DeWine's going to pull your name out of a hat, and you're going to get $1 million from the Ohio state governor's office. Because it's not his money, folks, that he's going to give away. This is free money. They don't do nothing for it. They just stick a gun to your head and take it. That's all they have to do for this money. It's funny, folks. It's funny, but it's not funny. It's gotten so bad, although they keep claiming that that we're over 100 million people in the United States already been vaccinated. If that's true, folks, there's something wrong. Because there was like 73 million that voted for Trump. And then there was another 81 million that supposedly voted for Biden. So let's just round it off at 150 million people voted. Well, we ought to have at least 100. That's pretty close to half. We ought to have at least 150 million people already lined up to get that shot. You guys voted. You voted for these 2 clowns. You're a hypocrite. You're being a hypocrite. If you voted for Biden and you ain't lined up and got your shot, you're a hypocrite. If you voted for Trump, even though he lost, he was trying to fast forward that vaccination. You should be the first ones in line. Everybody that voted in that last election, there shouldn't even be no doubt. Your asses should be already vaccinated. Period. Before anybody else. Because you gave consent to evil by voting in their evil election. It's that's all. I mean, that's the facts. So Mike Devine's counting on doing giving away $5 million to 5 different people in 5 weeks to get people to get vaccinated for a shot at one of these $5 million. If that don't tell you something right there, folks, then nothing will. If they've got to pay you $1 million to take a shot that they claim is going to save your life, why would they do that? I never see them offering cancer patients that they've got to go through chemo and stuff that costs hundreds of thousands of dollars. I never hear them going, look, you're going through rough times. We know you ain't got the money here. We're going to pay for it. Here, matter of fact, we're going to give you $1 million. And that way you don't have no worries. For cancer patients. Believe me, I sat with cancer patients that were down getting chemo. I had to go down there. I got sick down in Tennessee, and I was bleeding real bad internally, and they couldn't figure out where. Now I was anemic. I got so bad I was anemic. I dropped 100 around 100 pounds in 9 months, and no, it didn't matter what I ate. I was sick. I was dying. I was bleeding internally. They made me swallow a camera that was in a pill about as big as the end of that cigarette right there. I had to swallow that camera, and then I wore this big thing they hung around my damn neck. And this thing, as I swallowed it, it went through my entire system, taking pictures, trying to find out where they said I was bleeding. But I was bleeding so bad internally, and they couldn't find it. And I was anemic so bad, I had to go down and sit where these people were getting chemo pumped into them for an hour. I went down there and said I wasn't getting chemo. I was getting iron pumped into my body. For an hour, they pumped iron into my body because I was so anemic. And they turn around. Um, they basically told my family, "Look, you guys might as well. His organs are going to get ready. They're getting ready to start shutting down. He doesn't have long to live." They told him to go plan my funeral. And my family was my aunts and uncles, my cousins, my mom and dad, my wife, my kids. They were planning on me dying, and they saw what I was going through in 9 months, and I was shriveling up to nothing. and and I know I told you guys before. I've got an uncle that's he's been involved with the Church of Christ down there in Tennessee, in the area I was living at the time. And he saw what was going on with me, so he's one of the preachers there, and he went into his church and he got the whole church praying for me. And at least this is what I was told. Okay, he got the whole church praying for me, and I'm telling you what, people, it was like a light switch flipped. I was freaking healed practically overnight. These doctors are freaking out, man. They couldn't figure out what the hell was going on. I was no longer bleeding. Everything was right, and nothing was wrong with me on almost overnight, folks. And yeah, from this church praying for me. But that's what I'm talking about. They're talking about giving people $1 million every week for 5 weeks straight. They're going to make a drawing of everybody that gets vaccinated, and somebody's going to get $1 million for getting vaccinated. And I'm telling you, they don't do this shit. They don't do it for cancer patients that are dying. Why would they do this for this vaccine? You got to ask yourself, folks. Where the hell did he get the $5 million to just throw away like this? This, do you think it come out of that trillions of dollars that Trump wrote checks for, or the trillions of dollars that Biden's writing checks for? And I guarantee you guys, I don't know, Trump said it the first time our government ever wrote a $1 trillion check, and he was scared to sign it. Well, do you think they'll ever write another check smaller than $1 trillion? Every time they want money now, it'll never be a billion. It'll never be a million again. It'll always be a trillion. Trillions of dollars. That's where this 5 million came from. That DeWine's going to fucking offer to 5 different people in the state of Ohio. Now, he was talking on CBS, and he was saying now other states are offering $25 to go get the vaccination. Some states are offering $100, and they still weren't getting enough people to come and get it. So he thought, and he thinks it's a good idea. $1 million. People are offering $1 million for you to come down and take that shot. $1 million. Governor DeWine is offering Ohio citizens $1 million to come down and take that shot. What do you think's in it? I don't know what to say to anybody that would take that shot, because they have never ever had to offer anybody $1 million for a life-saving shot. Ever. Not that I know of. I've never heard about it. Not over when the Black Plague was going around. I never heard about them offering somebody $500,000 or $100,000 back then to take this shot. The bird flu, never heard them offering $1 million to take a shot. The regular flu, nobody has ever heard anybody, the government paying anybody to take a shot. And if you guys take it, you deserve it. That's all I can say. They're showing you it ain't no good. And it ain't going to be good for you. That's why they're offering $1 million. You might be able to live long enough to spend it, if you're lucky. I'll tell you what, it's going to be fun on that day, on Judgment Day, when I get to be standing there, and I'm going to be judged that day too. I'm going to be judged right along with the rest of it. But I know this. When I'm standing there on Judgment Day, I'll be standing there looking across at those who didn't make it. And I hope to be standing there when DeWine is standing there. And several other people in Boardman Township. He's not there, but several other people around here. Because it will be almost a pleasure to watch that happen. After what that clown has done to this state that he's a governor over. And he don't have to worry about it. He cannot be prosecuted in any way, shape, or form. You could not bring up a conspiracy to violate your rights under the color of law against him. They pass laws so them guys could be protected. They pass laws for the government to be protected. They pass laws for the hospitals to be protected that would be doing this and backing this. The one thing they didn't pass, folks, is they didn't pass laws for all these other organizations around here, the restaurants, the gas stations, and all that, to be covered under qualified immunity. They didn't pass that law. So when this whole thing, this mask mandate around here stops on June 2nd, and these other companies decide they're going to keep the mask thing in place in their stores, I am going to make so many videos, and I hope they stop me. I hope they don't serve me because I'm not wearing a mask. Because after DeWine lifts his tyrannical laws that he passed, they won't be covered under it no longer. And by God, if you won't let me come in your store and be served because you want a mask on my face because of my disabilities, if you don't think I can find a lawyer when this stuff is dropped, this mask mandate's dropped, if you don't think I can find a lawyer and sue your ass civilly for violation of my rights, I'm going to make that my job. And I'm going to sue every damn buddy that violates me. I promise you that. It's going to become my job. And that's why I'm glad to hear he's finally going to drop this mask shit. Hell, you guys wore them for a year. How much longer does he want you to wear them? Probably, maybe longer than a year. I don't know, folks. You guys, I haven't had to. I hope it don't affect you guys from having to wear them. But you know what? I tell you what, there's only one person in my family so far that I know of that got tested for this, what happened last year. And he died about 2 weeks later. That was my father. He died on the 21st of December last year. He's the only one I told him for 2 years. I told him, Dad, they're going to try to force a vaccine. I don't know what all they're going to try. And then once I heard they was doing this testing, what was involved in it, I told him, don't do it, Dad, don't do it. I'll tell you what, it'll kill you if you do. And he did not want to do it, but he could not breathe, and he was at the hospital. And those people looked at him and said, if you don't let us test you, go home and die. So he couldn't breathe, so instead of going home and died, he let them test him. He still went home and died about a week and a half, 2 weeks later. It's the only person I know of personally that got tested. That's all I'm saying. I ain't saying that I'm not saying that the test killed him. But I told him for 2 years about what was coming. And if he let them test him and take the vaccine, he'd be dead. And it happened. I don't know what to say. Now, there are a couple people I know in my family that have already taken the vaccine. And so far, so good. That's all I can say. So far, so good. And I love them dearly, but sometimes you need to listen to your elders. So, and kids nowadays don't do it. They got to learn I didn't listen to mine either, so I can't really put them down for it. But learning the hard way can be learning the real hard way. But I don't know, people. I thought it was kind of funny him coming up with this $5 million bullshit to get people to get vaccinated in Ohio. And you know what? You guarantee it, people will be lining up thinking they're going to hit that $5 million. But I see people buying them scratch tickets and them lottery tickets. I buy some of them lottery tickets when they get up there. I got to admit, I'll buy some of them when they're $500 million. I'm going to buy one of them, But no, I don't play that game. And I see people play it all the time and never win. Or they might win a little bit, $100, maybe 1,000. It's just like my wife, she used to go in the casinos a lot when we lived out in Arizona because they were everywhere. And she'd go in there with $400 or $500 and 7 times, yeah, she played on that money for hours while she was in there. And then on the 7th time she goes in and do it, she'll win $1,000 or $3,000 or something and says she's the winner. Well, no, you're not, because you done put 7,000 in there. You're still 3,500, 4,000 behind. I tried to tell her, So you're not a winner. You never win at gambling. That's what this damn $5 million to vaccinate is, people. It's a gamble. And I hope you're not willing to do it. I hope you're not, man. Well, let me see. Was there anything else I was wanting to talk about? I talked about that a little bit earlier in a video I did that he was dropping the mask mandate, and that kind of fixes things with my court date and them keeping me out of the courtroom because of a mask. I think that's about it, folks. Haven't seen nobody throwing any comments in or anything, so let me go back here and see. Yeah, nobody's even commented or said anything. I know there's been a few of you out there, so. All right, guys, I guess I've bored you long enough. All I got left to say is may God bless us all. That's the only way out of this. And make no mistake, God loves you, and so do I. Have a good one, folks.